From the outside, Julie Andrews seemed to live a charmed life. The world adored her for her crystal-clear voice, her dazzling performances, and her unforgettable roles in classics like Mary Poppins and The Sound of Music. But what if behind that perfect smile was a truth so painful, so deeply buried, that even her closest fans never suspected it? What if the woman who sang with such joy was actually carrying decades of silence, regret, and heartbreaking loss? Why did it take her almost 90 years to tell the world what really happened? Julie Andrews is not just a star, she is a survivor. And the truth she finally shared changes everything we thought we knew about her. Julie Andrews was born Julia Elizabeth Wells in 1935 in Walton-on-Thames, England, but her early life was anything but magical. For years, she believed Edward Charles Wells, the loving schoolteacher who raised her, was her real father. But when she turned 14, her mother confessed that Julie was actually the result of an affair. That one revelation cracked the foundation of her identity, making her question everything she thought she knew about who she was and where she came from. That heartbreak came just as she was already navigating a childhood filled with instability and hidden pain. After her parents separated during World War II, Julie was sent to live with her mother and new stepfather, Ted Andrews. He was a vaudeville performer who quickly recognized her talent, but he also brought something far darker into her life. The family was poor, living in war-damaged neighborhoods in London where food was scarce and love even scarcer. When Ted drank, which was often, he crossed dangerous lines. On 2 different occasions, he made inappropriate advances toward young Julie. She never forgot it. From then on, she began locking her bedroom door every night, a haunting habit that said everything about the fear she carried. It was a childhood where safety could not be taken for granted, and trust was often betrayed. But in the middle of all that chaos, one thing gave Julie comfort: her voice. Her soprano was sharp, pure, and piercing, and it became more than a talent. It was her safe place. Singing became her way to survive, the only space where she could exist untouched. Ted Andrews, despite his awful behavior, saw that brilliance and began introducing her to the world of performance. This dynamic, of being hurt by someone who also helped launch her career, was one of many complicated emotional threads that Julie would carry for years. Julie's professional training began at the Cone Remand School, now known as the Trang Park School for the Performing Arts. There, she met Madame Lillian Stiles Allen, a stern but kind soprano who took Julie under her wing. Madame Allen was demanding, teaching Julie that amateurs practice until they get it right, while professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. Julie took it to heart. She traveled long distances alone to attend lessons, practiced tirelessly in cold rooms, and never once let up. Singing was her discipline, her escape, and her armor. By the age of 12, she made her professional debut at the London Hippodrome in Starlight Roof, leaving audiences stunned by her maturity and vocal power. A year later, she became the youngest soloist ever to perform at the Royal Command Variety Performance before King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. For anyone else, these milestones would be just the start of a career. For Julie, they were signs that she was building a life far beyond the pain of her past. Every note she sang was proof that she had survived something unimaginable, and that she was stronger than anyone ever realized. When she was just 19, Julie made the leap to Broadway in The Boyfriend. Her voice and charm won her the Theatre World Award, and just 2 years later, she was cast as Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady. At first, many doubted whether such a young British newcomer could handle the role. But Julie proved them all wrong. Over 2,700 performances later, she wasn't just a Broadway darling. She was a phenomenon. Then came the heartbreak. When the film version of My Fair Lady was made, Hollywood chose Audrey Hepburn to play Eliza, dubbing over her voice with another singer's. Julie, who had carried the role to greatness, was left out completely. It was a public and painful rejection. But fate had something else in store. Walt Disney had seen her on stage and was so captivated that he offered her the lead in Mary Poppins, even willing to delay production until after she gave birth to her daughter. That decision changed everything. Mary Poppins became a global success, and Julie won the Academy Award for Best Actress. Suddenly, the girl who had been cast aside became a household name. Her next film, The Sound of Music, cemented her place in cinematic history. Playing Maria von Trapp, she brought warmth and strength to the screen that resonated with millions. What people didn't see was how hard she pushed herself behind the scenes. She never complained, never asked for sympathy. She simply worked. Because for Julie, performing was never about fame. It was about proving she was more than what the world tried to take from her. Through the years, Julie made smart financial decisions, investing in real estate and building a secure life. She found love again with director Blake Edwards, and though their marriage had its challenges, they stood by each other for over 40 years. They adopted 2 daughters from Vietnam and built the life filled with both love and loss. But the pain from her past never completely went away. The little girl who had locked her door at night still lived inside her. Then, in 1997, her life took a tragic turn. During her run in Victor Victoria, Julie noticed a slight hoarseness in her voice. Doctors diagnosed her with non-cancerous nodules on her vocal cords and recommended what they called a routine surgery. But when she woke up, her world had changed forever. Scar tissue had formed on her vocal cords, stiffening them and taking away the flexibility that once defined her singing. Just like that, her voice, the very thing that had saved her, was gone. Julie described the loss as feeling like a death inside. She went through multiple surgeries, hoping for even a slight recovery, but nothing worked. Publicly, she kept a brave face. Privately, she was shattered. Her husband Blake later revealed just how devastating it was, admitting that she would never sing again. The silence that followed was unbearable. Julie filed a malpractice lawsuit against Mount Sinai Hospital, claiming she was never warned of the full risks. Though the case was settled in 2000, no amount of money could bring back her voice. But Julie Andrews didn't vanish. She reinvented herself. With her daughter Emma, she began writing children's books, over 30 to date, many of which became critically acclaimed. She lent her voice to narration and animated films, like the Shrek franchise, bringing warmth and humor to a new generation. She also became a vocal advocate for vocal cord research, funding innovations so others wouldn't suffer like she did. Her words carry a different weight now, not through song but through stories and causes that matter deeply to her. Julie's story is also one of love, both found and lost. Her first marriage to Tony Walton ended quietly after the strain of their careers pulled them apart. They shared a daughter, Emma, and though the breakup hurt, it never turned bitter. Later, with Blake Edwards, she found a deeper, more mature kind of love. Their years together weren't perfect. Blake struggled with depression and chronic illness, but they remained each other's greatest source of comfort. When Blake died in 2010, Julie was once again forced to face silence. This time, not the silence of a lost voice, but the silence of a home without laughter, a partnership without the one person who knew her best. Friends say she carries that grief with grace, but her smiles now hold a quiet ache. Even as the years go by, Julie Andrews remains a figure of elegance and strength. Her estimated net worth of $30 million in 2025 reflects a life lived thoughtfully, not extravagantly. She owns beautiful homes, including a Victorian mansion in Wimbledon and a London residence in Chester Square. Her car collection tells the story of a woman who honors her past but embraces the present, classic Bentleys alongside hybrid Lexuses. But beyond the luxury, her world is filled with books, art, flowers, and light. It's a sanctuary shaped by experience, both painful and profound. Julie doesn't seek attention now. She grants interviews only when she believes in the cause. As artistic director at Bay Street Theater, she champions new voices. She continues writing with Emma and supports charities focused on children's literacy, arts education, and women's empowerment. Her legacy isn't just in the roles she played, but in the lives she's touched. When asked how she wants to be remembered, she simply says, kindness, and maybe making someone's day a little brighter. That humility is what makes her story so powerful. Julie Andrews may have lost her singing voice, but She never lost her voice as a human being. Her story of trauma, triumph, love, and quiet reinvention is more than inspiring. It's a reminder that even the brightest stars carry shadows, and even in silence, they can still shine. If Julie's story moved you as deeply as it's moved generations, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like hers deserve to be remembered, not just for the songs, but for the strength behind them.